Welcome to channel. Today, we explore story filled with unexpected twists. Please, subscribe and like to stay updated. Let's begin. Although it is tough for me to be angry, I consider myself to be a balanced and peaceful person. However, in my personal life, I am unable to promise the same restraint. At a recent function, my ex-wife's boyfriend approached me and openly admitted his feelings for her, particularly in the bedroom. This apparent disrespect sparked an uncontrollable wrath inside me. "I can't stand you, you despicable woman," were the final things I spoke to Rachel before we divorced. For 7 years, she was the love of my life, until our relationship ended in court. This is a tale for another day. I never imagined it would end like way. We were meant to be together forever. 7 years may not seem like a long time, but I felt we were the ideal relationship. I never questioned her loyalty. Everything came crashing down when I realized how dumb I had been. My wife blatantly deceived me by cheating on me with an actress during an awards ceremony in Positano, Italy's lovely southern region. She worked for a famous agency that represented the interests of the industry's most prominent actors. Her temptation and the dissolution of our marriage occurred when we were surrounded by friends. I could not understand why they thought it was appropriate to include me in their scandalous Mediterranean romance. Perhaps they assumed I would just take whatever they handed me. At that point, I realized how mistaken I was and how I was being played. They were incorrect. I refused to accept the horrible guy who twisted my wife and regarded her like a trophy. Why? Because some individuals paid me money to keep their connection a secret rather than reveal it. Money was the only comfort I had. She gave up any claim to our common property, most likely after getting payment from the scoundrel or her job at the agency. I don't care what repercussions the traitor faces. To explain this narrative, I must mention this individual, who well named Liam. Do you know any renowned performers called Liam? I am not sure, so let it be Liam. I apologize to any lesser-known Toms who may have been insulted because they were not included. I was given $3 million to sign a non-disclosure agreement, get her out of sight, and protect our assets. It seemed to be a decent bargain, despite the emotional cost. The practical advantages of possessing $3 million vastly outweighed those. Although I was already financially secure, the allure of a substantial sum stashed in a foreign account was too much to refuse. I was resolved to quit my connection with her, even if it meant giving up a large portion of our shared money. My name is Michael Langston. I'm extremely disappointed. I'm on the border of loneliness, which I didn't recognize at the start of this narrative since I was still linked to Liam and Rachel. What truly irritates me is the sensation of being betrayed and the unpleasant understanding that I have been duped. I am pleased to be the owner of my own consulting firm, which has become a passion of mine. I developed it from the ground up over the years through hard work and devotion, and it has become a thriving enterprise that helps me finance my lifestyle with Rachel. To prepare for any challenges, I had Rachel sign a prenuptial agreement to safeguard the business from becoming part of our marital assets. In the end, her option proved to be sensible, but she would have had to waive this privilege as well. My job is secure because to a strong base of loyal consumers and contracts with major organizations. But the true issue is with Rachel. At first, she was lovely and fully captivated my heart. I felt we were the ideal pair, but she betrayed my confidence by cheating on me, maybe swayed by the allure of a celebrity. This is a depressingly regular scenario. Rachel was, and still is, great. I used to believe that her beauty shone both inside and out, but it's amazing how love can obscure the mind. We were both 31 years old and had been married for 7 years after a 1-year relationship. After 8 years with the firm, she climbed to prominence, where she was instrumental in handling some of their most important customers, including Liam. If I hadn't been so in love and trusting, I may have spotted the warning signals. When she was assigned to work closely with Liam, her excitement was evident. She spoke about feeling affluent. These were obvious indicators of falling in love, but my innocence prevented me from seeing the coming danger. She was asked to accompany Liam on a global promotional tour for his new picture. Despite her frequent and extended absences ranging from 10 days here to 9 days there, to a 17-day journey to major European cities, I chose not to show worry or share her excitement. I was honestly glad for her since Rachel was doing well in her work and having the chance to talk to celebrities. I had no idea our marriage was about to disintegrate. A few months later, she was still in wonder of her previous adventures and the glittering stardust that seemed to follow her everywhere. One evening, She couldn't take it any longer and stormed home with amazing news. Michael, you won't believe it. Liam's film is nominated for an award at the prestigious Riviera Film Awards, and I was invited to the entourage that will attend it. I'm just thrilled to be involved in this project. On top of that, I'll even be attending the awards ceremony. My agency even allocated a budget for evening dresses for the ceremony and the party. Can you imagine? She cried. Her cheeks dropped slightly as she observed my subdued response. Given the distance she had already traveled for the promotional trip, I felt empathetic to her situation. What's wrong, Michael? She said, her tone laced with melancholy. I thought you'd be glad I had this opportunity. Despite her dismay, her excitement was unrelenting. Rachel, I just felt your absence very strongly during the promotional tour, I told you. It was hard to be away from you for more than 3 months, especially during those few weeks. I understand this is part of your job, and I know how much you wanted it, I told you. I paused, allowing my words to linger in the air, before adding, I just hope you can find time for your husband after everything is said and done. Rachel seemed somewhat insulted by my statement. She seemed to be ready to protest, but instead opted to keep quiet. The absence of protest perplexed me at first, and I wondered whether there was anything else going on that I was unaware of. But my doubts did not last long. The following day, she surprised me by notifying me that the agency will pay my travel fees as a thank you for enabling her to be away from home for the previous several months. She said that if I could take my mind off my business for 2 weeks, she would pay for everything, including my stay in a first-class hotel. Without hesitation, I accepted the offer. A free vacation to Italy was too enticing an offer to pass up. I rescheduled many meetings, set up remote work with customers, and arranged the trip. Few people realized that if I had understood what was in store for me, I would have remained at home. But I remained confident in my wife's commitment. Even in the most severe situations, there is always a ray of optimism. Our journey to Italy started with a plan to visit the charming city of Positano, which is situated on the magnificent Amalfi coast between Sorrento and Ravello. Positano is famous for its elegant film festival, which typically takes place in July and lasts 10 to 12 days. During our time in Positano, we were treated to magnificent accommodations in a 5-star hotel, as well as a suite with stunning views of the iconic Spiaggia Grande. Many renowned and attractive actresses are often shot on this beach with the Bay of Amalfi in the background. I was looking forward to Rachel excitedly joining the team and receiving the most attention. With her lovely appearance, she would definitely lend a touch of elegance to press shots. While balancing my internet obligations, I felt like I was on vacation, looking for methods to keep myself entertained. My meeting with Rachel was brief, and I wasn't too concerned. I believed she wasn't indifferent to Liam since she had previously mentioned him. The first time I became concerned was when she returned to the hotel to prepare for a promotional picture session on the beach that was scheduled to take place after lunch. According to the idea, she was just intended to be an ornament next to the major performers. Until this moment, everything had gone perfectly during our 6-day visit. But when she walked out of the restroom, she was dressed in what I wouldn't even call clothing. She resembled little more than a few strands of dental floss piled on top of each other, barely concealing her. The only thing keeping her safe was a little piece of fabric. I was astonished. I'd never seen anything like that. What's the matter, Rachel? You're not going to go out in public like that? I said incredulously. Where did you find this outfit? I said, perplexed by Rachel's bad decision. It's a gift from Liam, she said, defending her outfit selection. He said that press photos would look very impressive in such an outfit. It's part of my job here, Michael. I could sense her humiliation, but she did not seem to desire to alter her attire. Michael, please don't make a big deal out of a molehill, she told him. I don't want our friends or half of Italy to see you like this. You look like you belong in an adult movie, I remarked with a smile. My remarks were harsh, and Rachel's response was quick. She grabbed something and stormed out of the room. I decided to leave her alone and concentrate on my business, ordering the main course, which was brought to our room. I was having supper on a nice balcony overlooking Spiaggia Grande when I saw Rachel and her company posing for several photographers. The action transpired about 35 meters from my table, so I could see everything perfectly. But it was my wife who drew my attention with her seductive presence. She seldom left him, as indicated by the number of times he put his arms around her waist. Although their closeness made me uneasy, it was not improper. Despite the embarrassment, I couldn't stop watching. The picture session concluded, and some, including Rachel and Liam, went to the beach, while others returned to the hotel. The small distance between the embankment and the water enabled me to view what was going on from an observation point. Initially, I didn't think anything was unusual, but then I observed something worrisome. When they got into the sea, she strolled back down the beach with his hand around her waist. This moment felt more appropriate for lovers than for a devoted wife, and I was disappointed by what I observed. For the first time, I felt really concerned about my marriage. When she eventually returned to the room 45 minutes later, my mood had not improved. She seemed absolutely innocent, as if she could not do anything wrong. I frowned my face and shrugged, prompting her to inquire, "What's the matter? What happened?" I glanced at her carefully, my mind concentrated on her recent conduct and looks. "Well," he said, "let me explain the problem in a more general way. First of all, your body is undoubtedly visible to the whole of Italy in this revealing outfit." So I replied. Obviously, my wife's figure was on show in public, which bothered me. But before I could finish expressing my fear, she interjected. "Relax, Michael. We're in Europe. It doesn't bother anyone here. No one objects. Besides, I thought it might make you happy. We've been apart so much this year that I wanted to wear this for you," she told me. I chose to hold my ground. "Rachel, Liam bought this thing for you. You'll wear it for him or maybe for work, but not for me. Moreover, I happened to witness you and Liam walking along the beach. He was constantly hugging you, holding you close. And to compound my suspicions, you returned to the hotel 45 minutes later than expected. Where have you been?" I requested more information. Rachel blushed again, with a sense of propriety, before responding, "What are you implying, Michael? What kind of accusations are you making against me? I want to make sure you understand that this is a purely professional matter, Michael. I'm just doing what's required of me, that's all. Liam may be charming, but that's all. There's no deep connection here, my dear. I'm focused on my work," Rachel said resentfully. I choose to keep my ideas to myself. Although her justification appeared acceptable, it was evident that she had spent a lot of time with Liam, and they were comfortable with one another. She was very skilled at her job. She mentioned the possibility to get a substantial bonus for effectively leading Liam's team. This was the pinnacle of the film project, and I knew that in a month, I'd probably regret questioning her ability. A noteworthy occurrence occurred the next day, on the evening of the film's awards presentation. Although I was not formally invited, I went as an extra, without playing a prominent role or taking part in the main activities. Rachel looked stunning in her gorgeous outfit, and my heart skipped a beat as she departed for the occasion. Knowing that she was likely to seat close to Liam filled me with dread. As I watched the event on Italian television, my concerns were verified. Rachel not only sat next to Liam, but she seemed to be moving closer to him by the minute. My fear only grew as I realized that my greatest dreams were coming true. After Liam earned the award, I was delighted to get a note asking me to the reception. But then everything went wrong. The evening started quietly, with a few drinks that gradually grew into several. Around midnight, several of the visitors began to depart, and I saw Rachel headed to the restroom. To my astonishment, Liam approached me and began a chat. This was the first time we had ever spoken, and I didn't believe we had anything in common. However, his surprise response revealed that we had one thing in common. We both slept with my wife. She's been the only one helping me relax for the last few months. "Thank you, brother," he whispered, visibly drunk, making me question his intentions. Despite my greater height, I felt compelled to engage in a physical battle with him as my fury simmered. But, unable to keep my cool, I began to ask more questions. "I wonder, Liam, how long have you two been spending time together like this?" I said, maintaining a calm smile on my face as he excitedly recounted his inebriated exploits. "When we went on the promotional tour," he firmly said. "I'm sure I've been intimate with her at least 20 times. You must be jealous of me," he proceeded to boast, implying that if it weren't for him, she may not even contemplate such actions. I saw her coming from the corner of my eye but chose to ignore her. I hoped she would overhear our chat and learn of his insulting statements. Liam didn't notice her there, so I turned to him. "Okay, Liam, thanks for hinting that my wife is nothing more than a woman. Are you suggesting I get rid of you?" I questioned him. Her countenance altered as she heard my query, and tears welled up in her eyes as she awaited his response. "No way, buddy. You can handle this on your own," he responded. "Finding a woman like your wife is nothing to me. She may be a good woman, but that's all. Why would I be interested in someone like her? Nobody. You're in charge of her, but I appreciate you taking the time. It will be enough for a couple of meetings, but no more, she said. I could hear her weeping, saying, No, 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 it shouldn't be like this. I stared at her and shook my head. Turning to Liam, I remarked calmly, I don't need her services either. With those words, I hit him with a single blow, knocking him to the ground. A minute later, local police officers came, handcuffed me, and led me away. Looking back, I saw Rachel pulling Liam to his feet. They sought medical attention to heal his plainly injured nose, ensuring that the therapy was delicate and would not harm his look. Offended by my husband, I resorted to physical aggression, which resulted in my detention as the police intervened to prevent members of the public from striking celebrities. I had a linguistic barrier since I do not know Italian, but the authorities prepared for an interpreter to assist me throughout the interview. The event happened about 9 a.m. After spending the night in the police station, the officers quizzed me via an interpreter about the circumstances that led to the assault on the renowned actor. I elected not to respond and requested to meet with a lawyer before saying anything more. The cops respected my request for a lawyer and returned me to my cell so I could wait for one. About an hour later, I was notified that my wife had arrived, but I refused to speak with her. The setting was reminiscent of a Pink Panther movie, replete with the Italian police trademark laughs and startling lucidity in their queries. They told Rachel that I did not want to speak to her and requested her to leave. About 35 minutes later, two events occurred practically simultaneously. I was referred to Miss Francesca Bellini, an Italian lawyer, and contacted by a representative from Rachel's agency. Miss Fabro volunteered to listen to the agency's suggestion, and after some discussion with the authorities, we decided to meet in person. I accepted to the appointment, hoping for help in my present situation and intrigued in Liam's ambitions. The agency dispatched Gregory Dalton, its second assistant, to speak with me. I could not help but laugh at the moniker, which seemed appropriate for someone interfering in such circumstances. Despite my initial amusement, I had met Gregory at a few business gatherings, and he always seemed to be a kind guy. I eagerly waited for him to start speaking. What a crazy situation, Michael. Did you even know that there was something between them? Gregory quipped. I shook my head, denying knowledge of the scenario. I had no idea until I saw them on the beach together yesterday, Gregory. It never occurred to me that she would do something like that. I always considered our relationship to be strong. Did your team have any idea what was going on? I sought clarification. Honestly, Michael, I feel for you. Some in our group had doubts, but it wasn't until the last minute that things started to turn around. Just between you and me, I sincerely apologize, Gregory murmured. I saw you arguing, and I have to say, again just between us, I couldn't help but laugh when you knocked him down. He definitely needs to learn humility, Gregory said me with a smile. Gregory was an extremely kind person. Michael, do you have any thoughts on how you would like everything to go in an ideal situation? Well, I'd like to just get rid of both of them and move on, but I know that's probably not going to happen in the near future, I told him. What are you going to do with Rachel? Will you try to make peace with her? Gregory was curious. No way, Gregory. I plan to divorce her, and I'll stop at nothing to make sure both she and the other participant face the consequences, I told him. Gregory, I have no complaints against you, but I believe hiring an experienced lawyer in my homeland is the best course of action for me. If the lawyer recommends that the agency be held accountable, I will not hesitate. The agency must also bear some responsibility. Do you understand? Gregory glanced at me and said, I understand, Michael. Everyone has their own interests here. You have to come out on top, and we have to keep it a secret. That's what Liam said. Gregory was sure that no one would know he had been beaten. After all, he was intended to be seen as an action hero. He stated that since he was not filing charges, there would be no legal implications. Everything was okay since local authorities had resolved to protect the festival's outstanding reputation. You can tell your lawyer friend that his services are no longer needed, okay? Greg said. After a quick handshake, the lawyer departed, promising Gregory that the agency would pay for his services as soon as he delivered the bill by email to the address shown on Gregory's business card. Now, Michael, let's focus on the current issue. Are you determined to get a divorce? Is there really no possibility of reconciliation? Gregory sought clarification. I understand if that's the case, but I want you to know that she still has strong feelings for you. She just got carried away by a famous actor and lost her way. Believe me, she will be devastated, he told me. I really hope she takes responsibility for her actions, Gregory. At the moment, I have complete contempt for her. She gave this arrogant jerk all her attention and affection. If what he told me was true, then he was getting privileges from her that I had never experienced, starting with intimacy and ending with this, I told him. I've told her this several times over the years, but she still preferred to give herself to this jerk, I quipped. I see what you're getting at, Michael. They'll try to put pressure on her to give you everything you deserve in the divorce, he said. We will make sure that she understands that she is in danger of disgrace and losing her job if she does not cooperate. Michael, it'll also suggest that the board of directors reward you well in exchange for keeping quiet about everything. If you agree, Michael, we'll arrange for your departure and ensure you fly home on the next available flight. Is that okay with you? Gregory interrupted. I smiled broadly as he went on. Please believe me, Michael. I will do everything in my power to help you get out of this situation in the best possible way. I'm sorry if this sounds corny, but I'm really saying this from the bottom of my heart. I promise you that I am an honest man. Before you go, Michael, Rachel asked me to ask you to talk to her. She doesn't know about my intention, but could you speak with her before you leave tonight? Gregory sought my assistance. Gregory, you're a hero in this situation. Can you make me one promise? Please tell her the same words I begged. He agreed with me and added, they'll tell her that you think she's a disgusting, lying person and you never want to see her again. Never. I am sincerely sorry that things turned out this way, but I will give her your message exactly as you indicated. I foresee that she will be stunned by your words, but she will only blame herself. I will contact you when we return next week to present the best offer I can negotiate with the board of directors, as well as convince Rachel that she has no choice but to comply. They'll take care of your release, take you back to the hotel, and make sure she's not in your room. My marriage broke apart in under 16 hours. I was angry and resentful of Rachel and Liam for betraying me, and 16 hours later, I arrived home feeling empty, both physically and emotionally. With Rachel gone from the home, I recognized our relationship couldn't be repaired. The notion of remaining in this location full of memories was terrible. I planned to be pushy throughout the divorce to make it harder for her to pay the rent. One of my main tasks was informing the landlord that we were moving. Rachel was gone in Italy for another week, so I had plenty of time to deal with financial matters like banking, savings, checking accounts, and credit/debit cards. These duties helped me deal with the emotion of betrayal. Despite Gregory Dalton's reputation as a wonderful person, I needed to prioritize my divorce. After a time, Gregory phoned me to schedule a meeting to discuss our divorce processes. He said that he and the counsel for the board of directors sought a swift and uncontested divorce. We met at my office, and Gregory introduced me to the lawyer who was accompanying him, a kind lady called Victoria Blake. Victoria, from the famous legal firm Hollister & Knox, was swiftly shown to be no ordinary person. She defied stereotypes with her keen intelligence and serious manner. Mr. Hargrove, on behalf of the agency involved in this agreement or negotiation, I sincerely apologize to you for being involved in the dissolution of your marriage, she remarked with a tone that was professional. I am authorized to present to you a generous offer of a non-disclosure agreement, which must be accepted by you. I know that Gregory may have already discussed something similar, so I am providing you with a draft agreement for review. I recommend that your lawyer or other representative also review this agreement. Confidentiality must always be respected, and failure to comply with this requirement will result in it is important that you understand that if you decide not to act on this information, it may have consequences for your wife, which may lead to a difficult divorce in the future. Gregory has prepared a detailed proposal for you, which you should carefully study and discuss with others. It is very important to maintain confidentiality in this matter. I think you will be satisfied with many aspects of this offer. Mrs. Hargrove is aware of the limitations of her choice and is willing to follow my recommendations, but with one caveat. She asked me to give her 1 hour to communicate with you. Despite my doubts that it won't do any good, she insists. This is her only condition, as she hopes to convince you to think about a possible future together, Victoria told me. I made it obvious that I didn't want to see or speak with her anymore. Gregory, did you give her the message exactly as I told you? I sought clarification. Yes, Michael. I repeated your words verbatim, Gregory said. I informed her that you called her a disgusting liar and told her never to come into contact with you again. She started crying, just like you wanted. But Michael, I have a feeling she might be denying the situation. We'll see about that, I said quietly. My eyes met Gregory's, but my demeanor was cold and hollow. Rachel wasn't important to me anymore. Rage fully overtook me, leaving loathing as the overwhelming feeling. I hadn't realized that hatred is a twisted form of love, irrevocably ruined, yet still flaming inside me. Despite the emptiness and disgust, feelings continued to rise inside me. I resolved to warn them so Rachel would cease her conduct, implying that I would withdraw from the discussions, causing havoc for all involved. But just as I was going to respond, Victoria interrupted the discourse. She urged me to consider about giving my wife just 1 hour. If I really meant to divorce her, Victoria believed I could dash my wife's aspirations in 5 minutes. But even if it took her an hour to come to terms with reality, what harm would it do? And you'd never have to talk to her again, she continued. The idea was presented in such a manner that it turned out not to be very noteworthy. After resolving this problem, I returned to the idea and spoke with Victoria again. Victoria provided me with a written proposal that was not in the form of an actual legal document, but rather a list of things indicating the key terms that should have been included in the final contract agreement between the agency and myself. In return for both sides consenting to a mutually agreed-upon version of this non-disclosure agreement, the agency would pay me $3 million to compensate for the clients and agency employees' suffering. The agency provided this sum as a complete and final settlement of all claims resulting from these acts. The arrangement also involved the agency's client, Liam. This was followed by a letter from Liam. I truly regret having drunkenly exposed the specifics of my romance with Mr. Hargrove's wife. I accept full responsibility for my actions and recognize that I should not have revealed such sensitive information. I do want to emphasize that I will not pursue any litigation in relation to the physical altercation that resulted from my conduct. I believe I deserve the repercussions of my actions. As for my wife, Rachel Winslow, the agency had opted to maintain her position and compensate her for her half of the joint property. This would enable her to attain financial independence without relying on me. I recognized the grief and anguish their acts caused, and I resolved to do everything necessary to go ahead in a more positive and respectful manner. Rachel decided to work together to expedite the divorce procedure owing to irreconcilable differences. She requested an hour-long appointment with me to explore the grounds behind their divorce. This meeting has to be held no later than 3 weeks before the planned court date. Let's not drag this out, Michael. We all agree that unnecessary drama should be avoided, Victoria said him. In this situation, there are no winners except you financially. You have lost your wife, and this is a serious loss, she said. At that point, I understood I couldn't ask for more than what I was given. I declined any advice and grudgingly agreed to meet with her for an hour, despite the fact that I warned her it would be an unpleasant experience. I doubted Rachel would stay more than 10 minutes in the meeting, so I told my staff to advise her that she could make an appointment with my office when she was ready to face the inevitable. Rachel attempted to see me at the workplace, but they refused to allow her in. Instead, she was able to schedule an appointment via the intercom. I made it plain that I would only allow 1 meeting per agreement, and Rachel had to agree. The following day, she arrived 5 minutes early but had to wait until 3 p.m. before being permitted to enter. When she attempted to embrace me, I raised my hand and ordered her to stop. "Don't you dare touch me. Say whatever you want and get out," I yelled. She was weeping and beseeching. "Oh, Michael, what have I done? Has your heart grown so cold towards me that even the mere touch of me has become unbearable? We've been in love for 8 years, Michael. I'm your wife. I love you, Michael. I admit that I was stupid and infatuated with a movie star. Now I understand that my actions were wrong and selfish," she commented. "Rachel, what did you think would happen? I don't have any feelings for you anymore. Didn't Gregory tell you that?" I questioned her. "He conveyed your hurtful words, but I still believe that deep down you love me. We were supposed to spend our whole lives together, Michael," she told him. "Rachel, are you out of your mind? You betrayed me in the most terrible way." I clenched my teeth. "I've been by your side for years. I still remember the day I saw you struggling to cross the road from the beach to our room. I haven't forgotten what happened between you two, and yet you came to me as if everything was normal." "Rachel, your actions disgust me," I said. "I have decided to file for divorce. Please, Michael, I'm begging you. I made a mistake, but my love for you is sincere. Please think about giving me another chance," she said him. "This is your last chance, Rachel. Be honest, and we'll see where it leads," I said. "Your brave lover bragged to me about what was going on in his bed, and you never discussed this topic with me. I'm curious, so I'll ask, and you'll answer with a straight yes or no. Did you have an intimate relationship with him at the beginning of the promotional tour?" I wanted to know. "Yes," she said. Did you let him do things to you that you never let me do? I requested an answer. Yes, she promptly confessed. But, Michael, he's famous. Rachel attempted to excuse herself. He may be famous and handsome, but are you really ready to humiliate yourself for him? It's hard to understand if you don't have self-esteem or intelligence. Have you really sunk so low? I said with disdain. Rachel had become a mindless puppet for celebrities just because of their prominence. Do you realize that, Rachel? Love is in the past. It's dead and gone, and it's never coming back. Your actions disgust me. I told him to leave you because I don't need you anymore, and he threw you away like trash, saying he could easily replace you with someone else. Do you understand now? You are nothing to him, just a disposable thing that he can use and throw away at his discretion, I told you. Michael, this is unfair. You promised me to talk about our marriage for an hour, and you are just screaming and putting on a show, she said. I was overcome with feelings of fury and betrayal that I had never felt before. I had a tremendous urge to injure her. I wanted her to recognize that our relationship was really finished. Despite our rising hatred, I still felt a profound affection for her, which saddened me and caused uncertainty that threatened to consume me totally. Go away. I hate you, I screamed aggressively, disgusted. She broke into tears. Her grief was palpable as she ran out the door. A few months later, I ran into her again, this time in the courts. Her lawyer phoned me and accused me of not giving her enough time for our arranged appointment. She agreed that our relationship was coming to an end, but she wanted to finish it properly and requested the chance to speak with me once the divorce was official. Despite the fact that the meeting appeared superfluous and quick, 35 minutes, I consented. There would be nothing left to argue after the divorce was officially registered. I went to the final decision ceremony as a show of goodwill, even though I didn't feel I owed her anything. It was merely a method to make the transition easier for both of us. My wrath faded over time, to be replaced with a sense of melancholy resignation. It became evident to me that what had previously been so important to me now made little sense. There were moments when I began drinking excessively in an attempt to block out the recurrent sensation of remorse that everything was done with her. Despite this, numerous close friends contacted me with a reconciliation proposal, arguing that we were right for each other and proposing to have a family to rekindle the spark we had before Liam came between us. Despite their pleadings to give her another opportunity and emphasize how much she loved me, I couldn't escape the sensation that all these words were meaningless. I couldn't tell whether they were really concerned or simply acting in her best interests. Their relentless pressure only made me irritated. Finally, I confided in a few trustworthy friends and requested that they break relations with anybody who mentioned Rachel. As a consequence, several of our closest friends drifted away from me. I couldn't bear the unfeeling version of myself I had become. A few months later, I was led to a tiny room in the courtroom where Rachel waited for me alone. Although she seemed as lovely as ever, those who knew her well, like myself, could see the sorrow carved into her face, a suffering that matched my own. She wore a melancholy clothing, as if she were prepared for a funeral. In some ways, it was the last farewell to our marriage. The last rituals had been done, and it was now resting in peace. All preparations had been done, and the essential discussions had taken place. It was time for the typical post-mortem discussions that happen after a period of grieving. The hostility between us had subsided, at least on my end. She let go of the hope she was hanging on to. There was nothing else to dispute or disagree upon. Hello, Rachel. How are you? You look great, I said. I've had better days, Michael, she admitted grudgingly. I've been seeing a therapist for several months now. People said it would help, she told me. But to be honest, the loss of my husband opened my eyes to the stupidity of chasing a movie star. I regret giving him the love and attention I should have reserved for the man I truly loved. Michael, I'm sorry that I hurt you. I would like to turn back time and show you the love that still lives in my heart. I betrayed you, and for that, I am deeply sorry. I don't expect forgiveness, but I want you to know that my love for you will always remain, she told me. Realizing that the person I previously regarded inconsequential was now looking at me in the same way, I had to face the sad reality. I realized that I was the cause of this scenario and would have to account for the repercussions. I was hoping for a last meeting with you to calm down a bit. I want you to understand that despite everything, I will not live without love. My feelings for you will always remain. If you ever realize the value of our love and want to return to it, I will be waiting for you. If you ever decide you want me back, just say so. But I'm not going to hold my breath. I know our relationship has come to an end, Rachel said. She was crying. I never questioned the truth of her statements. They were faithful to me. There was no sense doing anything anymore. It would be simple to call her, attempt to rekindle our romance, or follow the advice of friends. But I opted not to do it. I knew her company still valued her and that she was succeeding in her work. Furthermore, it could be more valuable to her today. Without her spouse, she would be back in the scenario that had led her astray. Our future no longer exists. After the rage had subsided, all that left was the agony of a dead love. Regardless, I could have been more generous. Rachel, I'm telling you this because letting go of a love that was once so strong is very difficult. For your own sake, let go of this love. I will never get her back, and I don't need her, I stated with warmth. Keep moving forward in life and let go of all lingering thoughts about me. Embrace your true self, and may you find true happiness. When Rachel got closer to me, I couldn't resist her. Our embraces were delicate, similar to those we had exchanged before. She apologized in a gentle voice for the suffering and walked away without looking back. Perhaps it was better that she did not look back. I couldn't stop the tears that streamed down my cheeks. The truth struck me. The love of my life had gone forever. I thought I wanted this because I couldn't trust her longer, but it seemed like a piece of me had been removed, leaving just darkness and emptiness behind. Perhaps it was time to listen to my friends and seek assistance to recover. At the end, I pushed her away. The blow that ended our marriage also ended any possibility of reconciliation. It was time to let go of the situation and move on. 5 years have gone, and my life has transformed beyond recognition. Now I am the joyful owner of a new home and the devoted spouse of a lovely lady called Emily. We have a wonderful kid who gives us delight every day. Emily emerged in my life approximately 6 months after the divorce, when I was preoccupied with retribution and isolation. But meeting her changed everything. I realized Liam, who had a significant part in the demise of my marriage, had gotten off lightly. He realized he was wrong and apologized to me, but it did not make me feel better. Emily became my rock throughout this tough period. Our encounter was a success, and we soon started a year-long relationship that culminated with my proposal. Am I satisfied? Definitely. This is more than I can say about people responsible for the downfall of my prior existence. My ex-wife, Rachel, worked for a time but finally had to face the repercussions of her conduct. She started an affair with another well-known customer, and their secret was revealed at the worst possible time. Despite being granted a second chance to return to work, she failed to perform her tasks, and she was dismissed with no regrets. After that, she was very desperate and even contacted me to meet and discuss. This happened approximately 10 times, and each time she was really inebriated. Then Rachel vanished, and I heard nothing about her until an old acquaintance informed me that she was getting treated for an addiction to illicit medications. In contrast, the actor's popularity seems to be declining. His activities destroyed not just my marriage, but also a number of other relationships. The notable public person is said to be embroiled in a controversy involving multiple women. According to some accounts, he is suffering from major health difficulties as a result of a meeting with one of these ladies, who turned out to be in poor condition. As the truth is exposed, it is evident that all involved received what they deserved, and karma has returned. Despite the upheaval, life continues, but the ramifications of this scandal will last a long time. Thank you for viewing this riveting movie of love, betrayal, and redemption. What would you have done in Michael's shoes? Please share your ideas in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for future tales.